Mike only trusted me with one verse today. When I was asked to preach today, I asked, what am I preaching on? He said, Philippians 4, verse 4. And I looked and I read the verses before it and after, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's a nice passage. How far should I go? And he said, just 4. So I can do this one from memory. Rejoice in the Lord always. And I say rejoice. That is our passage today. And that is what we as believers are called to do in this passage from Paul. He writes to the church in Philippi, and this is actually a theme that is woven through the whole book, or the whole letter that he writes to the church in Philippi. The word rejoice, that is my first point too. That's the title, it's my first point, rejoice. It is written in the Greek in the present imperative active tense, which means it is an ongoing action that is indicating immediate action is required. You need to rejoice, and you need to do it now, and you need to continue doing it. When I was reading this, I was reading through the Psalms as well. I was going to use Psalm 103, but that got used a few weeks ago. But my devotions took me to Psalm 29. And it is a chapter that King David writes that is a snapshot of what rejoicing actually is. Let me read that to you. King David writes, ascribe to the Lord, ye heavenly beings. Ascribe to the Lord glory and strength. Ascribe to the Lord the glory due his name. Worship the Lord in the splendor of his holiness. The voice of the Lord is over the waters. The God of glory thunders. The Lord thunders over the mighty waters. The voice of the Lord is powerful. The voice of the Lord is majestic. The voice of the Lord breaks the cedars. The Lord breaks in pieces the cedars of Lebanon. He makes Lebanon leap like a calf, Syrian like a young wild ox. The voice of the Lord strikes with flashes of lightning. The voice of the Lord shakes the desert. The Lord shakes the desert of Kadesh. The voice of the Lord twists the oaks and strips the forests bare, and all his temple cry out, glory. The Lord sits enthroned over the flood. The Lord is enthroned as king forever. The Lord gives strength to his people. The Lord blesses his people with peace. Rejoice, because God is a God of glory. He is a God of power and strength and majesty. He is King of kings and Lord of lords. And this is a call to action right now with a sense of urgency that Paul places in this verse. Why? Because we live in the presence of a king. The people that he's writing this to knew royalty and the significance of that. And if you were summoned to the presence of the king and you did not have joy on your countenance and respond in an appropriate way as far as the king was concerned, he could take your life. It could be a death sentence to you. But at the very least, you probably would never see the king again if you came in like this and, I don't know about being in your presence. No. If you went to the king, you're like, wow. This is amazing. Glory in the majesty of God is what we are called to do with this word, rejoice. Which brings me to the second point. We are to rejoice in the Lord. What makes you joyful? What brings joy to your heart? What makes you rejoice? Is it your circumstances? Is it events in your life? Is it objects that you have? They may bring a fleeting sense of wow from time to time. The birth of my kids. I have 4 kids, if you don't know. 3 daughters. My son's helping out with kids' church today. And I rejoiced greatly when each and every one of them was born. And I love them all very deeply. Do we rejoice in people? Well, yes, we can. But this is a call to rejoice, an imperative call to rejoice in the Lord, in Him. The King of Kings, Lord of Lords, and Creator of the universe. This is a total shift in perspective. In this crazy mixed up world that we live in, we are told to change our perspective from here on earth to there. Why? Well, Angela, I'm going to get you to come up here. You mentioned me a couple weeks ago, and I told you I was going to get you to help. Angela mentioned a rope a few weeks ago in her message and said, if I was Garth, I would have a rope. But I'm going to ask you to take that end of the rope and just keep going. So this is our life. Keep going. This is eternity. Whoop. It's getting away. Keep going. But the present part of our life is this. Just this little end here. That is now. That is this part of our life. The rest is eternity. And pretend there wasn't another end to that rope. It just keeps on going. This is what we focus on right now. And in reality, we're supposed to be focusing on that. I don't know if you noticed about 10 feet into the rope, there was a piece of tape wrapped around that. Did you see that? Yeah, some of you did. That is when I'm going to ask all of Jesus' disciples to take me fishing. That is that day. When I get to eternity and glory. Jesus, most of the disciples he picked were fishermen. And I am going to count on there being some pretty good fishing in glory in heaven. Amen. But that's kind of secondary. I'm going to enjoy eternity for a long time before I focus on that at all. Our call is to change our perspective from the here, the now, all the craziness in this world that we're dealing with right now. Mike was talking about some of that in the government that's going on in the prayer before the service. We are told that, yes, that is important, but it's only secondary to the fact that we are in the presence of God. And we are to rejoice in the Lord because He is the one in control. The word rejoice was essentially a greeting. That is what it was. It's a greeting that you would use when you're in the presence of somebody important, a king, somebody in power, a government official, somebody that you wanted to honor. It is a greeting that we would use in their presence. Let me give you a little bit of an example. My mother passed away last year. And she always talked about having hot dogs with the Queen. Well, if we can go to the next slide. You can't read that, so let me read it for you. We found this in her personal effects. His worship, the mayor, the city commissioner, and members of the city council request the pleasure of the company of Miss Shirley Lenvoy of First Longview Street at a chuckwagon luncheon on Thursday, the 18th day of October, 1951, in the Stampede Corral, Calgary, at 11:30 a.m. Their Royal Highnesses, Princess Elizabeth and the Duke of Edinburgh, have graciously signified their intention of being present. We found that in her personal effects. Now, my mom was involved in Girl Guides, and she and the daughter of her Girl Guide troop leader were competing to see who could get the most awards and finish the most tasks or whatever they did. And my mom actually got the most ribbons. She beat the daughter of the Girl Guide leader, and apparently the leader and her daughter were rather upset about this, by one award, and wound up getting this invitation as a result to see the Queen and have hot dogs at the Stampede Corral with the Queen. Now, the word rejoice is roughly the equivalent of Your Royal Highness. And I'm pretty sure my mom had a pretty big smile on her face when she was at the Stampede Corral having hot dogs with the Queen, because of the honor of being in her presence. I know she did, because she spoke about it quite frequently. But it is a worldview shift. Angela spoke about a rope and how our focus, or our life, is just the very tip of the rope. But eternity goes on and on. My third point is Paul asks us to rejoice in the Lord always. Paul is writing this letter from prison. In this letter, he uses the word rejoice 11 times. Twice in this verse, 8 times before and once after. He calls us to rejoice. He writes it in, as I said before, the present imperative active tense, which means do it now, and do it ongoing. Never stop, keep on rejoicing. Doesn't matter what's going on, doesn't matter your circumstances, your health, what others say, doesn't matter the time of day or the time of night. Doesn't matter if you're having a hard time getting to sleep, or you're thinking about how you want to get home from work. We are called to rejoice in spite of our circumstances, in spite of everything that's going on around us. Rejoice always. And the version that we have in English, rejoice in the Lord always, again, I say rejoice. Yeah, that's roughly what he was saying, but in reality, what he is trying to get across is, just in case you didn't get it the first 8 times I said it, and previously in this verse, I'm going to tell you again, rejoice. You didn't get it the first 8 times, so I'll tell you again, I say, rejoice. Back in 2011, my son got very sick. For those of you who don't know what happened, you can come and ask me about it later. I won't go into great detail, but they did call him the sickest kid in Canada. There's a room at BC Children's Hospital that they take you into if they have bad news. Generally, the news is there is a significant life-changing event, or your child is not expected to live. We were called into that room 5 times. He was there for 9.5 months, and I was called into that room 4 times in the first week he was in the hospital, once after. A few weeks into it, on one of the days that we were called into this room, I called it the bad news room, I was at church. We had made connections with a family who also had a child in the intensive care, and they were taking us to this little international Pentecostal church. And it was wonderful. There was a lot of people from places like Bangladesh and India. They had amazing samosas there, and they treated us wonderfully. They blessed us immensely. But I remember on this one Sunday when we had received some very, very bad news. And I was actually told to call my family because my son was not expected to live. Was not expected to live through the day. And at that church service that Sunday, we sang a song by Matt Redman. And I'm going to read you the words to it, but it hit me like a ton of bricks. But it also spoke to my soul, and that God was saying, I'm in control no matter what. It's a song, Blessed Be Your Name. Blessed be your name in the land that is plentiful, where the streams of abundance flow. Blessed be your name. Blessed be your name when I'm found in the desert place, though I walk through the wilderness. Blessed be your name. Every blessing you pour out, I'll turn back to praise. When the darkness closes in, Lord, still I will say, blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be your name when the sun's shining down on me, when the world's all as it should be. Blessed be your name. Blessed be your name on the road marked with suffering. Though there's pain in the offering, blessed be your name. Every blessing you pour out, I'll turn back to praise. When the darkness closes in, Lord, still I will say, blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. You give and take away. You give and take away. My heart will choose to say, Lord, blessed be your name. That song still hits me. But it doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't matter in your life what you're facing. You still choose to rejoice because you're in the presence of the King of Kings and Lord of Lords at all times, because he is with us. He is living here in our hearts. So I need that Kleenex box. I knew I was going to do this, but it doesn't matter. What are our marching orders? I don't like concluding messages. I like giving marching orders because it is how do we take this out into our life and live it? Well, we can live our life by focusing on God through our prayer, by coming to him moment by moment, day by day, pray without ceasing. We can live it by following his word and reading scripture and knowing what he has come into this world and told us to do through his word. But probably most importantly, as we take that and we apply it in our life, and we have an attitude shift. We take what we know, realize who we're with, who is controlling our eternity, not just our life, not just this little part here, but He is in control of our whole eternity. And let that flood your soul, change your perspective, put a smile on your soul, and say, "Blessed be the name of the Lord." Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say rejoice. Now, I've recruited a little bit of help this morning. When I say rejoice, we have another way that we can rejoice, and that is through singing. Now, I have a pet peeve. We have a song that we often sing, and I've said if it's sung at my funeral, I'm going to change things up a little bit. You see, there's a song called Amazing Grace. And when people sing it, it looks like their soul has been soaked in pickle juice. And we sing it like, "Amazing grace, so sweet." It doesn't sound very amazing to me. Those are amazing words. Amazing grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost. Now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Those are incredible words. But we sing it like our soul has been soaked in pickle juice and we are sad about it. If it is sung at my funeral, Mike, if you ever do my funeral, I will hunt you down if you don't do what I'm about to do right now. I will track you down in glory and say, "Mike, you messed up." Because, and you can blame one of my professors at college for this, what I'm about to do, he showed us this. Now, Brad, going to get you to come up.
Yes, sir.
Now, this half is going to follow Brad. This half is going to follow me. And we are going to do it in a couple ways. Brad will help me with the first way we're going to do it. And need you all to say, "Bawimbawa."
Bawimbawa.
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 It's our job.
Bawimbawa. And you guys get to sing the words to Amazing Grace. Okay, let's.
So it'd be Bawimbawa, Bawimbawa, Bawimbawa.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Jesus is the way. Jesus is the way.
When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun.
Jesus is the way. Jesus is the way.
Thank you. Thank you, Brad. But the way I want it sung at my funeral is this way. It can also be sung to the tune of the Gilligan's Island theme song. So how many of you were raised on Gilligan's Island? This should be very familiar to you.
Except we're not doing the key change because my brain doesn't work that fast.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. Was blind, but now I see.
10,000 years but
Shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Now those are our marching orders, because I want that song bouncing back and forth through your head, either one way or the other way, that we just finished singing it, and putting a smile on not just your face, but your soul for the rest of eternity. All the way, the length of that rope and further. Because we are told that it is imperative to do this: rejoice in the Lord always, and again I say, rejoice. May God go with you. And don't trip over my rope as I